a motherfucker. You would think I had 6 kids, 3 baby mothers, and a whole bunch of friends, but they hate each other. Shorty said she had my back, but she stayed front, and I don't even say nothing. Still give her what she need when she needs something. Just praying for the days when I ain't running. Like a chicken with his head cut off, or a chicken head who ain't nothing. Man, I've been up stressed out. Worst part is I'm the best out. But what it's worth when you left out? Like a dog in the rain, not a home to you.
What's up, people? Welcome to the You Asked For It podcast. It's been a long time waiting. I know. Ready to start season 3 with y'all. Well, restart season 3. We kind of started it a couple weeks ago. We had some mishaps and, some things happened since then. And we ready to restart right now. The last time, I'm sorry, I didn't even introduce myself. I'm Basim the Dream, affectionately known as. And thank y'all for being with us for the last 2 seasons. I definitely want to, let y'all know I appreciate that for sure. We've had lots of ups and downs over the last few seasons. My bad for the camera shaking. But today we started new. First, I want to introduce my first guest we've had on the show in the since the end of season 1. We had no guests last season at all. I mean, it was 3 of us on the camera. It was kind of hogging the space. It wasn't a lot of space for nobody else, especially with those egos. So first I want to introduce y'all to my homie. I've known this guy since he was a freshman in high school. He claims that I bullied him at one point in time. I think he's a liar. I was never a bully. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce y'all to my man King Curt.
You definitely bullied me. You definitely I still have
this on a international platform. You won't
listen. You brought it up. We here now. We here. I'm just saying. I still got the emotional scars. I cried right before it. Like the very sight of your smile instills fear in me. So I mean, look, this is the shit you do. I'm just saying. I can't appease you for your sins in the past. I mean, you a good man now, but
yeah, absolutely.
I'm just saying, like, I still wake up in a cold sweat and and like eat bacon habitually on a daily basis to soothe my emotional pain. What it do, y'all? King Curt live.
Oh man.
Affectionately called the HNIC over at Head Nerds in Charge. Check us out if you ever get the opportunity. Just Google us. Y'all know what it is. It's a pleasure to be on. See, Janae, know she laughing.
Oh, come on.
She know I was bullied.
No. Janae told me that she loves me the other day. I don't want to hear it, bro. She's not going to cape for you right now. I was never a bully.
I'm just keeping it a buck. They ain't got it. Listen, they both bullied me. If I'm keeping it for real, because we all.
But Janae bullied you?
Yeah, she did.
She grabbed you by your ears?
No, she did it mentally. That's how women do. I chose violence today. I chose violence.
I see. Obviously. Glad I picked you on today. I appreciate it. And you can call yourself part of the Pick Me tribe.
Yeah, listen, I know. All right, I ain't going. No, you trying to start way too much trouble, way too early.
All right, crazy. So today, I'm actually going to have 3 guests on besides myself today. One I've introduced you to already. The next I want to introduce you to, well, hell, technically I introduced you to them. They're in their 3rd season, so I've definitely introduced you to them 2 years ago at this point. But without further ado, ATS with Samone and Meek. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Hey. Yaffy.
She still got it.
That's the slow clap for women emotionally bullying.
like seriously, like that was crazy, right?
Seriously. This is not even. No, we're not gonna do this. I thought we was all family. I thought this was all love. If y'all told me y'all was gonna be choosing violence ahead of time, I think we'd have been more prepared.
All right. So I'm gonna tell y'all why I picked Curt. So when the shit went down a couple weeks ago, right? You know what I mean, y'all was riding for a nigga, right? And I was like, cool, that's great. So the first thing I did from that, I listened to episode 1, season 1 of ATS. And I recognized one thing like stood out more than anything else. And that was this jar of untapped toxic masculinity that y'all put me in. And I felt the whole way about it. So I had to bring somebody on that would balance the scales a little bit, because y'all coming with that a level of toxic femininity that I've never heard before, especially as the seasons progress, as the shows progress. So if you haven't already checked out ATS, definitely take some time and go check them out. But Samone and Meek, introduce yourself.
Meek face.
Because I'm just like, I'm flabbergasted. Like, the audacity of this bull.
You definitely. You look flummoxed.
Listen, she really threw me under the bus for my level of choice in women. Like, that really happened.
Well, I mean,
you know what? I'm not even going to recap that. This is the You Asked For It podcast, not or the Smoke podcast. So I'm gonna let y'all live. If y'all do want to hear what Basim the Dream is referring to, please go back and listen to ATS season 1, episode 1, where he completely throws himself under the bus.
Wow.
Just for the record, don't say y'all. King Curt is the thoughts and views of You Asked For It podcast is not synonymous with the nigga that wants to still come over and eat ribs.
Wow.
I just
that part, because I got your grandma pot. No, your grandmama pot. I still got your grandmama pot.
See what I mean?
Behave.
Subliminal warfare. That's all. Yes. I know how to stay in my lane.
Wow. Yeah. Balance. This is what balance looks like. It's cool.
I'm just saying. I can ride for you until that bus come over your head. Look. If your girlfriends belonged under the bus with you, then I don't know what to tell you.
Listen, it happens.
All right. Well, you know. Yeah.
So it was a couple of things that happened over the last few weeks. Y'all did an episode on the King's Court.
Shout out to the King's Court.
That was fun too.
Yeah, y'all went in on what's the boy name? Kevin Samuels and D-Jack.
Yeah.
I don't want to call him D-Jack. That's the football player. Derek Jackson. The Jackson. That's weird, but whatever. But yeah, y'all went in on them a little bit. And since then, a lot of women, even men, some men have come out against Kevin Samuels like really, really heavy. And Derek Jackson has kind of faded to the background. Good for him. He kind of shut up. I heard that he started talking again a few days ago. But that was in response to somebody coming for him. And he was like, "You're not going to come for me." I feel him on that though. But as far as Kevin Samuels' rebuttal to you guys, because all of you guys had something to say. I had something to say. And his rebuttal kind of made me say, "Nah, I'm gonna let this nigga die on his own." But I got a couple points to make. But I want one of y'all to make a point to say, you know what I mean? What was the one thing that stuck out the most to y'all? I don't want Chan gonna say.
Ladies first.
I already know what Samone gonna say, so we'll start with Meek. Meek, what you gonna say?
I don't think you know what Samone is gonna say. Simone has a whole little PowerPoint presentation that y'all don't.
I heard she was running through pencils
about Kevin Samuels.
I heard she was running through pencils. It's cool.
I'm gonna tell you the one thing that sticks out to me in general. Is regular from guys like Kevin Samuels, but I hear it across the board from people in general. The idea for me that I'm taking the criticism from so-called fans as, well, why can't I do what other people do in response to like negativity is beyond me. Yeah. I listened to his interview on Joe Budden begrudgingly because you mentioned it to me, Basim. And I felt like that in order to come on here, I wanted to do my due diligence and at
more
least get some context as to what he was talking about on the show. But one of the things besides his regular,
it's the petty King. It's the petty.
I was just like,
that was a softball. That was like an alley-oop layup right there.
Because we already know what he talks about. I don't need to get into the points he make that I think are egregious or the points he makes that I think is flat out like bull. I don't want to get into that. The point that I kept hearing repeatedly was, if I were blank, insert other person, I would be able to get away with what I did. You know, if I was a white man, they wouldn't say anything to me. If I was a black woman, they wouldn't say anything to me. And my thing is, why don't you listen to the critics when they say, "Hey, cool, whatever you say is what you say. We think your approach sucks, your delivery sucks, and it's not conducive to what you're really trying to do." And he's like, "Yeah, forget all that. If I was this, then that'd be cool." And it's like, well, since when is it cool to do any of these things. Instead of challenging that thing and saying, I'm not going to do it that way, you say, no, I want to fit in with that, with like the good old boys type thing. And I think it's inappropriate. I think he's immature. And I don't like him. It is what it is. I said that.
Wow.
So,
and I wish you'd get off my back about it. I just wanted somebody to say it. I just need somebody. I wish I had a sound drop. Like, if I would have known, I'd have had a sound drop ready. And I wish you'd get off my fucking back about it. Damn. My bad. It's cool. Samone, save it. Save it. Curt.
I don't get to speak?
Yes, you absolutely do. Just a second, man. Give me a sec.
Oh,
I got a system.
I don't like that.
Oh, man.
At all.
But ladies, please, I acquiesce to your magnitude and beauty.
See, that's why he got a crown on his head. You see that crown on his head?
I don't want no
underneath the brim too.
I don't want no smoke from all the smoke. Please, Samone, if you feel you would like to expound.
Nope, go ahead, brother man.
No. Here's my thing. I'm actually in full agreement with Meek. I find that whenever you try to excuse behavior by saying, hey, you would allow it if I were, or you're only doing this because I look like this. If it's egregious, if it's something negative, if it's something detrimental, address that. Address the behavior, not the way society excuses things for other individuals. Because like racism, people could say, oh, you know, that you let Donald Trump do it. Well, Donald Trump got a gang of niggas paid to protect him. You don't. So you're going to catch these hands.
That part.
I'm just, it's there's different situations for different people. But at the end of the day, the negativity, I'm not a Kevin Samuels fan. I do feel like he is blunt and he's the type of shock jock that is popularized. I mean, there's a bunch of people like Kevin Samuels. I mean, Wendy Williams has made an entire career on telling people's business and telling them like it is. Charlemagne is probably the higher paid type of Kevin Samuels. So, I mean, it's the nature of the business, but you got to own it. You got to live in that. One of the best that ever did it, Howard Stern, just said flat out, I'm a piece of shit. You know it. I know it. And you still going to pay to see me. And he's a multi-millionaire and everybody knows him to be that type of individual. All I'm saying is own your stuff. Own what you are. If you want to degrade and denigrate people as a means to try to better them or to try to do it for views, follows, or etc., you can't be mad when you are then in turn critiqued. That makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And I think he's a hypocrite. So
that part.
Do I get to speak now?
Woo.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to stay on it real long. I do have two quick points to make. I think it's unfortunate that Kevin Samuels chooses to use his platform and to play from our oppressor's playbook. I think that those in positions of power and privilege have historically used the chasm between Black men and Black women as a way to commodify and monetize on the backs of our
commodify. Is that a word?
Here we go.
Yes.
Here we go.
All right. No, she didn't. She wasn't. Listen, she wasn't smoking. If she was smoking, that'd have been funny as shit because she'd have died after that. But it's cool. Go ahead.
That's why you ain't getting that smoke.
Yes.
That's
why I did my Barbara Bush. Or was it Barbara Bush? I said no. Say no.
Barbara said no. And
but
the biggest pot dealer in fucking Texas at the time.
Goodness.
You sucking up my time, sir.
Do I have the floor?
and I think that's unfortunate. I think when we look at the things that especially more recently, the things that have come to prominence and popularity, I think that it's always at the expense of Black people generally, Black women more specifically. And I think he plays up and uses his platform in such a way that it doesn't do us collectively, as a community, any service. And with that said, one of the things that he says in his podcast or the rebuttal with Joe Budden is that life is about relationships. And I absolutely agree. life is about relationships, but I can't imagine in what in what realm of reality where it plays, where you can, devalue and diminish women writ large, and still expect to maintain and cultivate healthy relationships. So I think for me, if you're saying that the goal of your speech, the goal of your platform, right, is to connect these two disjointed, disconnected groups, Black men and Black women.
Oh no, he never said that. He never said that. He kind of agreed with someone else saying that, but he didn't really he wouldn't own that as a thing. And that's where for me it's an issue. That's right there is where that issue lies. The idea that anyone can get on any platform as far as a Black person is concerned, and your first responsibility, in my opinion, should when you speak on these sorts of things should be to reaffirm Black love, right?
Absolutely,
in my opinion. And I don't think that he does that at all.
Of course, and that's why he can't sit with us.
Yeah, he couldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was going to pay for the food, he could sit there, right? No. Okay.
No. I don't want that nigga money.
I don't want his money. The waiter or waitress is going to get the money, and she's going to split the tip with the busboy. That ain't got nothing to do with bro.
I don't know. So then that's the thing that makes me call into question this ideology that life, or at least from, through his lens, is about relationships. It cannot be, inherently about, or at least from his viewpoint, can't be about relationships when you've put forth nothing that helps grow and cultivate these relationships, but, discontent and contention.
Well, see, and that's why my answer to that question was corporate America. See, in corporate America, the way that we value relationships is based on what you can do for me. And that's it.
That's not just corporate America.
Well, and for me, that would be the biggest issue then on a minor, I wouldn't even say minor, on a major scale. That would be a huge thing. How we value relationships would be paramount to anything else that we try to build as Black people, right? The first thing we got to do is be able to relate. And I'm not saying that that you have to sympathize with my problems. I'm not even saying that you got to empathize with them. I'm just saying that at least recognize that there is a problem.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Curt.
No, I honestly, I say we pull back the veil. It's got nothing to do with relationships. It's got nothing to do with his perspective on the relationship between Black men and Black women. Y'all niggas keep paying him to do what he do. It's a simple thing. No. Baz, think about this. Right now, you got a bunch of ashy Negroes who support his Patreon, and he makes $7,000, probably more now, almost $7,000 to $10,000 a month just on his Patreon alone. That means there's enough people who want to hear what he has to say to keep him dipped in gold. So now, I got a choice. I have a moral base. I believe in love and life and relationships. I actually like Black women. But you pay me $10,000 a month. You know what? Maybe I'll keep not King Curt Live. King Curt Live is always about, loving it.
For the cleanup. I was waiting for the cleanup. I was like, yo, if this nigga went on this limb, I'm letting him go.
Listen, no.
You better look in this camera, sir.
Listen. I just want to make sure that there's a separation between what I'm talking about. The king want to love as many of you Black women as I physically can.
Pokemon, guys.
So, but if you pay, if you're paying him almost 10 G's a month, there's plenty of us. Look, all kinfolk ain't skin. I mean, all skinfolk ain't kinfolk. He's making a business decision, and guess what? People still tune in. As a matter of fact, now he's become so prolific that he's on popular webcasts, podcasts. He's now branching into mainstream media. This was an image consultant. This is the nigga behind the scenes that go and make other people look good.
Remember, he was an image consultant. He was just a sales guy.
So think about it. Take his background and think sales. What's my product? Oh, degrading people?
Wait, his product is misogyny.
Guess what?
If you listen to him, his biggest idealized version of men and women are traditional gender roles and stereotypes.
Right.
He's like, do the women look this way and behave this way? Do the men have this to offer and operate in this way?
Right.
Not near men go in there and say, well, what is he saying the man's value is? They never question that.
Well, see, that's the thing. to me, I don't think men. You're right. Men don't question it. A lot of men don't question it because they don't view themselves as high value.
Not. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's turned on men, not to the same level that he's done women, but everything is superficial. Literally everything, and he doesn't take into account my personal preference, because the first thing out of his mouth to a woman is how much you weigh. And if she says anything over 200 pounds, he like, well, there you go. Well, what if I like?
No, you're not broaching 200 pounds with this man.
Well, but you know what I mean. What if I like a little extra whipped cream on my sundae? I'm just saying
that all the black men I know do. So I don't know who he's talking to.
I need something to bite, so I don't understand what he personally likes, but he formulates that and generalizes it to everybody.
It doesn't have a vagina.
It took us all of 15 minutes to get vagina in there. Great. That's why I love the show.
I mean, every picture that we have.
Like.
Why did you pick the most? You know what you're trying to say with that picture,
bro. Listen, this was the picture. This was the picture I had saved for, I think, the episode 2. I had another picture saved.
You're not slick, Dream.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he got him with the tightest pants.
Every picture, bro.
I can see Kevin Samuel's camel toe, and he up
Google
here.
This man, every picture, he's in the same kind of stance. He looks like he grew up in Atlanta.
What that mean? But we not going.
And booty licking.
I'm not going to type cast.
Not women's booty.
And just for the record, I'm not coming at men who like men, people who identify as homosexual, or any of the like. I'm talking about those brothers who haven't decided that they
want to be out of the closet
with themselves, that they can openly express.
See, Phyllis said it's true. He's gay.
Their values.
Listen, lick the
booty. That he's gay. He's gay.
Lick the booty that's gonna lick you back. That's all I say. Look,
that's what.
No.
That's why you my guy. Exactly.
I'm just saying. I honestly
you be with the one you love.
I
love this right here.
I seriously question anything that he does simply because it's profitable. People will do what's profitable, even if it's against their character. All day, every day, we watched wrestling and we thought it was real until a lot of these guys' personal lives came out and we realized that these were caricatures. And that's how I approach all of Hollywood and most of media. They're caricatures. They're the caricature that they want to sell to their subgroup or demographic that keeps paying them. Because trust and believe me, there's plenty of people who sell an image and will build an image that they think you want to see. So talking about true life, love, and relationships wasn't paying Kevin Samuels.
Yeah, but he didn't talk about it at all. Like, he doesn't have a lot of space where he
knows nothing about it.
Right.
He has no frame of reference at all.
He has no frame of reference for this either. I think what it is like what Curt started with, is that they paying this man. But I think he really feels this way. I really think he feels this way.
Also say the same thing that I was saying. They're paying this man. Therefore, he should continue down this particular path because it's what he can monetize. It's because it's most profitable.
But see, then let's not. Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb, and ladies, check me if I'm going too far. But this is where I can only hold him so much accountable as the devil, because people, it's us that pay him. Not us, but it's society.
But it better not be.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can't even afford to pay my own goddamn bills, let alone his. It's other people who feed this monster. This is what they want to see. So then it just reinforces that this is a misogynistic world. This is a patriarchal world. This is a world that thrives off of degradation and seeing the pain. Now, he's no better or worse than Jerry Springer. He's no better or worse than Maury Povich. He's no better or worse than Jenny Jones. I mean, I don't want to tell you I get Ricky Lake. I mean, all these people who profit. Love and hip hop, y'all love this shit. Y'all love it.
Now, how can it be y'all now? Now all of a sudden it's y'all. I don't watch that shit.
I'm pointing to them. Y'all love it. Y'all love when we get the tussling and fighting on camera. Y'all love when they throwing drinks in their face and all that. Y'all love to watch people being denigrated because most people live shitty enough lives that it's nice to see somebody else get torn down instead of them. So, Kevin Samuels.
Part of me is being triggered right now.
Well, I'm just saying. Kevin Samuels represents what a lot of men want to say to y'all.
And that's good facts.
And I'm not saying it's the correct thing. I'm not saying it's the right thing. But what I'm saying is it's a problem that will never go away because, unfortunately, just like these races, oh my God, Donald Trump opened the door, and next thing you know, everybody felt emboldened.
Yo, and all right, so real quick, I really felt like we had. Myself and ATS had already had this discussion as far as like if you open up the crack a little bit, then the rest of the roaches will come through. As far as like when we were, because we have the Facebook group kind of set up, we originally set it up as a social experiment, and it bared out that once you let one person come through speaking some just fucking jibber jabber or just dumb shit, then a lot of motherfuckers follow them. Like, and I didn't think it was true. I was like, nah, and that's why you and I agreed initially before you got fucking bamboozled by ATS, that in our mind, Derek Jackson was more toxic than Kevin Samuels, right?
They definitely changed my opinion on that. Kevin Samuels.
They bamboozled you. It's cool.
Wow.
So Derek Jackson,
woke the fuck up. You better chill out.
Derek Jackson is to me on a micro level way more repeatable than Kevin Samuels, and that's why I think he's more toxic. See, all Derek Jackson is a fuckboy with a voice. You know how easy that is, nigga. You give any motherfucker a bullhorn, and he might be a fuckboy. Bam, repeat the cycle. Kevin Samuels, on the other hand, he presents a pretty fucking face. So by presenting that pretty face and a particular demeanor that he comes across as before he opens his mouth, he's already kind of got your attention. Everybody ain't got that kind of swag.
Who are we looking at?
Are y'all serious?
Who are we looking at?
The difference I'm saying as far as
you're saying because Derek Jackson is aesthetically pleasing.
Unassuming, and he's unassuming. He's unassuming even after he speaks, because after he speaks, all he sounds like is a chick's best friend. That's all he sounds like. Like he really doesn't sound more than, yo, leave that nigga. He done did this and he done got the finger snaps.
Nothing's different than what we already know, what we already think anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's all Derek Jackson does. He reaffirms the shit that you already thought. Whereas though Kevin Samuels, women on one hand, most black women don't agree with a lot of the shit that Kevin Samuels says. They can't say the same with Derek Jackson.
It's damaging to us. He
Literally.
Yes, he got on that show and talked about marriage. And you know he loves to quote facts and statistics and all this stuff. Most of the time baseless, because a lot of times we'll go back and fact check it.
Fact check it, and it's not true.
It's wrong. But people like hearing numbers. It makes them sound smarter. Cool, rock out. However, he always lets the misogyny slip out. It always is like, whoop.
He was
and
trying.
One of the things he said, no, because I wrote it. I wrote it down. He was talking about women getting married in like Jim Crow era, which is hilarious. I'm like, why we gotta talk about that? Like, that doesn't make sense. For now. And he says, when women were given a choice to marry, they did XYZ. And he was talking about, like, you know,
the welfare to work program. The man couldn't be in the house with the welfare program and all of that. That's what he was talking about.
But he was just the simple fact that he was identifying it in that way lets me know how much he devalues the position that women play in relationships, let alone marriages. Yeah. Like, he literally is out here in these streets telling these women, you need to do this thing.
You need a man. And
he talked about COVID. He's like,
you can't even, he said in the beginning of a pandemic, you can't fucking go to the supermarket without being triggered. That's what he said. He said he went to, because he lives in Atlanta, right? Or he lives in New York. Wherever he lives, it doesn't even matter, because in every fucking major city in the United States, there are way more black women than black men. So he went to the market during the beginning of a fucking pandemic in the United States and came to the conclusion that, oh, because there's more women here looking panicked, that they must be single and not married, and why didn't they send the men out? Not realizing that men were just as fucking anxious and fucking panicking as they were, especially the men like me who were fucking working outside and in these motherfuckers' houses. Like, come on, bro, it's not the same. And then so you quote some shit, that some visual shit that you actually saw, and somebody just confirmed that he's in Atlanta. And if that's the case, when the fuck have you ever gone to a supermarket in Atlanta and not seen fucking 1,000 women and like 3 men? Like, what the fuck? I lived in a Mexican neighborhood and it was like that. Like, what the entire fuck? I hate this man with a passion. But I still don't think that he's more toxic than the other motherfucker. Maybe because I see the other motherfucker in my shoes and I know how repeatable I am.
I'm going to tell you why. Because it's not a threat to your very life. Because here's the thing. When he was talking in the Budden podcast, he says, and I quote, "We have allowed one-way violence for far too long."
Oh, yeah, that was it. That was the
violence.
What the fuck does that sound like to you?
Wow.
That sounds like a threat. But let me tell you this.
What you mean? That was a threat. I'm calling my boys.
Right.
That was the Proud Boys call out. Stand by.
So that's why it's not as toxic to you, because you don't have a very real feel of threat of violence to your body, to your physical self. To me, it is very toxic and very scary, more so to me than Derek Jackson.
Then a motherfucker saying,
because if that was your call to arms, if that was your call to
Mm.
arms to say, you know what, we've allowed one-way violence for far too long, it's time to stop it. What does that mean for me and people who look like me?
I've always said that I fear what would happen if societal rules stopped and there was no law and order, what men would do to women. Because genuinely,
we don't need to guess. We see it when there is law and order.
But Simone, but my
a
thing
lot of these laws are new.
See,
new laws on the books, though, Curt. I hear what you're saying. A lot of the laws that we're referring to are new laws on the books.
What I was trying to say with it was, it's not even about the law. It's about the fact that these things are naturally ingrained in men to be overtly aggressive towards women.
Are you serious?
Because, hold on.
You're telling me that you're incapable of having a female friend. You're Steve Harvey in these streets. Okay.
I could finish the point and then you could get the entire gist, and then just give me a second.
All right.
What I'm saying is, it's natural for men who I've been raised this generation, because all we've been taught, I'm an 82 baby. All we've ever been taught is those same archaic archetypes of women should be submissive. You're going to be the man. You're going to be the dominant man. It's your job to protect women. It's putting a dominance over women as a whole, not treating them as an equal, but treating them as though they are property. So unfortunately, when a man like Kevin Samuel comes along and he says, hey, you have not taken your place, your rightful place, just like when white supremacists say, hey, we're the white race, we need to rise up. It's the exact same thing. And that's why Kevin Samuels is dangerous, because you embolden not just one demographic of men, but all men. Now I can see why my sisters fear. That was what I was trying. I can see why this is more dangerous. I can see why this is the difference between a Derek Jackson and a Kevin Samuels. Because a Derek Jackson, all he's going to do is piss off a bunch of niggas. Kevin Samuels will embolden a bunch of niggas.
Let me share this with you really quickly, and then I'm gonna be done. 94% of all murder-suicide victims are female. 19.3 million women in the U.S. have been victims of stalking, compared to 5.1 million for men. 1 in 4 women have been victims of severe intimate partner violence. So when I say that we've allowed one-way violence for too long, that's a call to action to me. And so when I'm thinking about what between Kevin and Derek, which one puts my physical self in more harm than the other, I'm going to always say Kevin Samuels, because there are millions of men across the country, like Curt said, who keep money in his pockets because they want to hear what he has to say. And so there comes a point where I've heard enough, I've received my call to action, and now I put my boots on and step out here in this world. And that
and
causes a real problem for me and millions of other women like me.
Right. That's the part that scares me. Is to that is Simone is right to your point. The fact that he's funding the fact that men are funding his lifestyle. Black men, predominantly black men, because white men don't care about what the fuck Kevin Samuels is saying. But the fact that black men, and remember, our call to arms was protect black women in 2020. You know, when it was all about Black Lives Matter and whatnot, it was this realization that black men weren't stepping up to do their part to help support our black women. But then you get this social media influencer who sensationalizes and emboldens this level of venom towards women. Because even though, yeah, he everybody, you know, the running argument is he does that to everybody. But why is it that the majority of his videos are women? See, sometimes you got to balance it out so you don't look like a total ass.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that a lot of that goes to better editing. I give you that.
But no, Bass. It's what's going viral, not the videos about the men.
What's going viral is going to be the man versus the woman. Period.
But why?
Because that's just society.
And but see, that's the problem.
Even if it was a peaceful situation, I think man versus woman, Venus versus Mars is always going to be a thing. Even if it's peaceful, even if we're saying, you know, this is non-physical, if it's intellectual, it's still going to be man versus women is going to be the most popular thing. So yeah, part of that is that for sure, right? The other side of that is just the idea of the audacity of a motherfucker to talk to somebody like this. Because in my generation, and we come from similar generations, like he's only a few years older than me. And so I look at it like, yo, like before we had the internet, you had to be able to fight to say some shit like that. Like you say the wrong shit to the wrong person and they gonna run up in your shit. And he was like, he just says whatever he wants to. And my thing is, the reason that I think that most men, especially the men that come from my generation, don't speak to women the way that other men speak to women is primarily because we like, yo, listen, this chick say one thing, I'm gonna say something back. She gonna call her brother. Now I gotta fight this nigga, and I don't even know who this nigga is. It ain't worth it to me. Fuck it. And that's why a lot of times women get away with saying the most cross shit to men is because it's supposed to be like that, because it's supposed to be, yo, she can say whatever she wants because she's got 5 niggas backing her up.
But the fact that has to even be the caveat to it, that's what's so problematic with Kevin Samuels. The fact that he makes men feel like I can be verbally abusive to a woman because she needs to hear it like it is.
Yeah. But
I do want to
speak women say it. You don't. All right. So you're telling me that you don't think that women say it like it is?
No, I believe. Listen, I believe in tact in everything.
Everything, right?
You across the board. Remember, whenever you are presented from a position of power, I just had this discussion with somebody. The oppressor cannot play victim.
Yeah, and they can't punch down.
Ever. If me as a man, I could tell a white man to recognize his privilege, then me as a black man, I can recognize my masculinity as a privilege. Mm-hmm. And I can openly admit, hey, I got to be careful about how I say certain things, because even though I got good sense, I might embolden the next motherfucker who doesn't have good sense and influence them to do something that's against my personal moral code. See, we have to be held accountable to what we support. Period. At the end of the day, what you support is what your moral code is. So you can tell me all day, I support black women. But if you then defend Kevin Samuels in the comments, if you reposting his videos like, yo, he really gave it to her, then you've already told me where you've aligned yourself. And the problem is too many of us that look like us are showing our true colors.
So can I speak to something really quickly that you said a little bit ago, Curt? You were talking about the Love and Hip Hops, the other media that we consume. I think that, and I mean, this is no excuse at all, but I think that by and large, people are able to take a Love and Hip Hop or other reality program and absorb it as entertainment. They can separate themselves to a certain extent Give me a second, Bass. Whatever rebuttal you have is by all means do that. But I think that they're able to separate themselves in a certain way because you feel so disconnected from the characters. When I saw Joe Budden for the first time on one of those programs, I'm like, okay, he's some rapper boy, whatever, from this place or whatever. He's dating this, model, chick or this model-esque chick or whatever. These are their issues or whatever that is going to get played out on screen. I already thought it was scripted. So for me, it was entertainment. I'm like, cool. If I watch it, it means nothing to me. Right. Kevin Samuels is presenting like he is real life. And the people that are taking his information in, one, want to be validated because they already feel the way that they
feel marginalized.
Way. Right. And so for them, that's real life. That's not entertainment. And so I think it's a very different message for me. You know what I mean? It's like the difference between fact and fiction. It's like watching a documentary versus watching, a animated series on something. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that people decide what's real for them and then kind of adjust accordingly based off of their consumption.
Propaganda is a real thing.
All right. So I have a question. What matters more? Presentation or what you take in from that presentation?
Both of them,
which matters more, right? So both of them matter, but which one matters more?
To whom?
To you personally, right? To you personally, which one matters more, presentation or what you take from that presentation?
You might not like my answer, Bass, but
it's not for me.
No. But I mean, I can't give you a black and white. One's better than the other. They're both equally. They're not. How do you say? They're not mutually exclusive.
No, I'm not, and I'm not saying that they are. I'm literally saying which one would be to you personally, right? What matters more? So to you personally, they're 50-50.
Bro, it's the
presentation matters, and how I receive that presentation matters. Right?
Equally, because
I'm sorry, can I just say this really quickly? Yes. How I receive it, how I perceive it is the presentation.
Period. Right? How you what you see reality.
The way I see something when it's presented. So wait a minute. The way I see something when it's presented is how I'm going to take it in. Exactly. She might see it differently. You might see it differently. But that is the presentation. Yeah. That's not a matter of fact, right? That's like the argument we used to have all the time, the kind of cute argument about fact versus truth. That's that, because this is not something we can quantify. What I see when I look at him is based off of my own set of values, judgments, all of these other things. And so the question that you're asking for me is kind of skewed because my reception of that presentation is going to be paramount. The presentation
paramount is going to be paramount. Your reception of the presentation is going to be paramount, right? Period. Because that's it. To I don't know. Personally, to you is 50-50, and to you, Meek, is the presentation matters. Who? I say that.
No, what I receive from that matters
is the presentation.
That is the presentation. Actually, what I'm telling you is one cancels out the other. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay, cool.
There is no presentation.
So there was no presentation. Whatever you took in is all that mattered.
Yes.
All right. Who? You now? For me personally, I'm the same. Whatever I take in is all that matters, right? You and I are also probably when they put out the application for the talented 10th and all of that, we probably would fit in that. That means that we in the top maybe 10-15% of people, right? That bottom 85 matters way more than us. And that bottom 85, they're not looking at it 50-50. They're not looking at it whereas though the presentation doesn't matter. Only thing that matters is really what I receive from it. They're not looking at it either one of those ways. The only thing that they can depend on is the presentation. When they first started doing this whole fucking Love and Hip Hop and all those other reality TV shows, I was like, yo, that's gonna be a problem for society going forward, because people are gonna do what they do with TV, which is put themselves in the shoes of the person that they're watching. Whereas though you said the complete opposite. That's not true. People don't detach from that. They actually attach to it. Think about it. They went to Tulum. Tulum has been the most popular vacation destination since. Think about that. It's the little things. It's not the big things. That's why I look at Kevin Samuels personally, and I'm like, yo, but what Samone said is 100% true, because I've seen it bear out. I've seen the numbers. I've seen the fucking actual shit. We had maybe 2 guys in the group that kind of would stand on some shit and kind of die on that hill. Before we really started cleaning house, what was it, like 10 of them? Like they just kept repeating shit. A couple of them presented one way in the very beginning, it didn't switched up, and now they presented a whole different way. And I'm like, yo, like, but I knew you, and I know you on some outside of Facebook shit. Like, and these guys is like totally different people. And I'm like, all right, cool, I get it. You know what I mean? Trauma.
They're not totally different people.
Yeah, I was about to say.
How many times do you have conversations, especially like with your homeboys or guys that you know, about topics like this? Casual. Exactly. So they're not different. They just weren't exposed.
Yeah. They just haven't shown themselves.
This is true.
They had no reason to, though.
And now they do, because now they
had no reason to.
Remember,
just to address your 85% comment about those people that are so-called like under us. I think
it's not about being under us.
I should probably feel like more uplifted by that.
It's not about being under us. It's not about being under us. It's about the idea that you can't expect the masses to save themselves. You have to literally have the best of the best to do it, and that's all that is.
The only difference between me and someone else is my level of understanding of what I'm seeing. Cool. What I'm seeing, what I'm choosing to see, though. Cool. If I choose not to see it, then guess what?
Then you don't see it. That's why I watch it.
I get it. Is blank.
I get it.
That's the only difference.
Ooh, and that's however you want to spin the argument. You're still not the same as everybody else as far as what you're still filtering what you're taking in. Whereas though I can't say that about the other half or whatever number you want to apply to it. The majority I can't say that about. You don't watch reality TV.
I'll say this, Simone, your eyes are so pretty.
How
you doing, babe? But no. Side note, no. I had to break the tension real quick. No. Bass, to your point, you used an analogy about roaches in the house. You said you make a crack and they all. No, he did. He said you make a crack and the rest of them follow. But the problem is, the roaches did not appear out of nowhere. See, your house was already infested.
That part.
The house was always infested. Just because you don't see roaches don't mean you don't have roaches. And the crack only allowed for them to have the opportunity to reveal themselves. So really, you have to do a self-assessment of who am I and what am I attracting, especially as men. And I think, and for me personally, there's a reason why I associate with the people who I associate with, and a lot of them are not men, because a lot of men in these conversations aren't checking each other. See, a lot of this stuff, a Kevin Samuels in my friend group wouldn't survive.
Nope.
Not for 5 seconds, because the minute you say something degrading to anybody within our friend group, that's a whole problem. And it doesn't have to be all aggressive, like we about to rock. No, it could be that's not appreciated here, my man, and you won't be invited.
Yes.
See, so really, every time y'all watch a video, every time we reshare one of his posts, every time we allow for his content to spread, that's like allowing his conversation to take place in your home. And I think in the comments somebody said, hey, put the motherfucker on mute. Period. To quote a wise woman. Period. And it don't have to be rocket science to this thing. It don't even have to be a long debate, because at the end of the day, if his core values do not match with ours, then cut off his source. He will get no love and representation from us once we have that. Like I said, I came into this thinking Derek Jackson was you couldn't tell me that wasn't the most toxic, lying ass, hypocritical. And by the time we got done, and trust me, I wasn't manipulated. I wasn't persuaded. It was, here's the facts. I didn't know. Here's the facts. Here's who's more detrimental, because what Kevin Samuel does actually causes my life to be in greater danger. Bro, once you say that to me, then fine. Let Derek Jackson, if anything, at least he's empowering women.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother. I felt bad even saying that, but you get what I mean.
I understand.
But at the end of the day, he's not putting nobody life in danger.
I mean, STDs is real, right?
Wow.
What?
STDs are real.
And so are condoms,
right? You gonna bring something home other than a baby, nigga? Like what? What are we saying?
I'm just saying that's why
put her in danger.
I'm the pullout king. That's why I pick them wisely. Anyway,
I'm not. I'm the complete opposite. All right.
And I thought king was for royalty. Ain't that
so listen. So you spoke about our core values, right? And I had this question ever since I watched part of that video with the Red Table Talk with Willow and her saying to Mama, this was it. Like, you ain't even had to watch the rest of the video. After this was it. She was like, Grandma, listen. If you had a group of people and you don't think that you could possibly love all of them equally, and she looked her dead in her face. The camera panned and she looked her dead in the face and said, "No." That was it for me. That was the trailer, right? I was done. I didn't even watch the rest of the video. I said, "Fuck it. It doesn't even matter. Whatever." But I got a question out of that though, right? Like, why are so many people? I can't even say young people, just people in general, because I know older people that have picked this as a thing. Why are so many people picking E&M or ethical non-monogamy or polydynamics as far as their romantic relationships are concerned? Like, and I don't want to make this a personal thing. I just want to really just like get your 30,000 foot view about why you think so many people are switching up from monogamy to non-monogamy type situations. Samone, you can go first.
Thank you. So
it's the eyes for me.
Yeah.
It's the eyes. It's the batting.
Okay, I got a point right. That part.
It's the batting of the eyes. It's the batting.
She does
right there.
I'm just blinking, guys. I just got big eyes. Relax.
Relax.
No.
So I don't think this is anything new. I think we have new language for it, but I think folks have been doing this forever. And I think as time changes, we add new words to our lexicon, new words to our verbiage. And I think this is just what we're seeing.
They just gotta step up.
I gotta slow.
What lexicon means, they gotta look it up. LEXICON if you're trying to spell it. I just want y'all to know.
Real. That's so real.
We got new language. We use new words that are more descriptive and representative of who we are and how we love. And I think this is just a manifestation of that.
Big facts.
We just gave it a word. All right. Meek.
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, that's literally what the first thing I thought of. The only thing I'll add is we got to be very careful when we say poly anything. Because those persons who do not participate in that dynamic get it real fucked up real quick. Polygamy and polyamory, not necessarily the same thing. As a matter of fact, if you ask people in that love style, it's not the same thing at all. And I don't want that. That's the smoke I don't want. Because
I want all the smoke.
I want to be as respectful as possible to people who practice and participate in that particular love style. But yeah, also to kind of piggyback a little bit off of what you're saying, Samone, I think that people were doing some things, probably weren't I was gonna say
they weren't above the kitchen table
in terms of E&M dynamics, so ethical non-monogamy dynamics. And I think that over time, things and attitudes kind of shifted towards, we don't have to do this. I mean, all of us are adults. Who the hell are we lying, being evasive for? Like, who are we doing these things for at this point? Like, it's an adult on adult relationship that we live with. That's what we're, referring to. And so I think that people have realized the ridiculousness of it. I think people are coming more into the idea that people aren't possessions, that we don't own folks, that all of us are autonomous and make choices and decisions. And quite honestly, you don't really know what somebody might be interested in, accepting of, participatory in, unless and until you have a real honest conversation. And that conversation starts with yourself about what you're interested in, what you want to do, what you see for yourself. And then you go out and find like-minded folks and stop trying to make it about coercing folks into doing something that they don't necessarily want to do. I'm about informed consent. And so I think that that's the reason why people are kind of moving towards that shift. And just to kind of address something that was just said in the comments, while swinging can be a part of ethical non-monogamy, it's not necessarily synonymous. There are plenty of polyam folks and or E&M folks who don't engage with sex outside of their queue and or don't have sex at all. So I just want to be real clear about that, because I think that people, again, start to, make it a lot more convoluted, and it's already difficult. It's already complicated.
What did King call them? Monogs? Yo, that sounds so fucking degrading. Like it's worse than toxic monogamy to me. You fucking monog. It's like calling somebody a nigger. It's what? It's the same.
It's not the
same.
Not. But I'm gonna let you. We get what you mean. I put it like this. I've been non-monogamous my whole life. I learned the ethical part in the
Hey, don't say that, bro. Divorces are never final.
Listen. Let me drink to that. You just telling them now.
May the force be with you.
Listen, this is who I am. I wasn't shit. I ain't gonna be shit. I won't be shit in the future. Do you want to get down? No. Too many people assign these type of love languages, love styles, and they automatically think, oh, you want to have sex with multiple people. One of the things that I recognize that, especially society as a whole, we are redefining what love is and what loving someone looks like. Because obviously, and I'm only going off of what's obvious, these are facts. The divorce rate is well over 60%. And I'm talking about even in religious circles. It's well over. Remember, a lot of this monogamy.
This not Kevin Samuel's research, right? It's not that type of research.
Look, I'll go the motherfucker right now. You ain't
I'm just simply saying.
I'm just saying. It sounds like a good number. If I'm wrong, let me know. Fact check me, boo. But
yes, I got you.
But what I'm trying to say is, I'll prove it. Meek, were your parents together?
No.
Simone?
Yeah.
They remained
disbanded after I was born.
Disbanded.
We're gonna count that to my point. Bass, have your parents remained together?
Yes, up until my father passed away. Yes.
Beautiful. Now, out of the four of us, one. Think about that. Out of the four of us, one. It's probably more exacerbated if we open it up.
Yeah, so by the way, that is Kevin Samuel's research.
But what is the point?
You see what just happened? It was like, you see us right here? One.
Mind you.
That's what he does, by the way.
Let me be great. Let me be great, because let me rock.
I'm right here with you, boo.
But at the end of the day, we have to obviously understand that some of the things that we think is good for all of us doesn't fit everybody. And some people have the spoons and the capacity to genuinely love. I'm not talking about sleeping with a bunch of people. I'm talking about genuinely love more than one person. And if that's the case, then most people are asking the question, why am I lying? Why am I fronting? Why am I, as one commenter said, not living in my truth? Because at the end of the day, here's who I am. I'm letting you know who I am. You now have all the information to make an informed decision as to whether or not you want to be with me. And if you do, you know going in what you're getting. And if you don't, thank you. We could be friends if I so choose, or we could just part ways. Whereas before, it used to always be, hey, if you're not married by a certain age, something wrong with you. Or for me, if you're not settled down, if you're not settled down, whoa, listen, I don't settle for shit. So honestly, there's too many people who assign themselves to monogamy simply because that's the only thing they were ever taught. The only thing that they ever know. So they're not doing it.
Taught, Curt. They weren't even taught that. It was passed down to them just like their religion, just like their political affiliation, just like all those other things. It's been passed down.
But they don't want to hear that.
The gift that keeps on giving generationally.
They don't want to hear that.
I just have one question with this idea that
somebody said mono is a disease. Damn.
Mono is a disease.
That's monogamous.
It is. Mono is a disease. I didn't say monogs. I said mono.
I said monogs.
You said monogs, and she said mono. So I was merely saying what she said, letting her know that mono is a disease. I mean, I went to college. Mono was a real disease. But so the 1 out of 4 thing, right? So my parents stayed together to the day my father died. Cool, great. My father introduced me to one of his other girlfriends.
Oh, well, then
when I
there
was
it is.
5, nigga. Like, what are you saying?
Oh, well, then that's my point.
Like, what are you saying?
No, but that's my exact point. See, the difference is, how many times did they say, "Oh, well, my parents lasted for 60 years," but Nana would have left 5 years in if y'all wasn't treating her like shit and she could get a job. All Nana wanted was some security. This nigga got the bills coming. I look, he hand me his money. I let him go drink. He down at the bar and he fucking half the block. But you know what? We don't talk about it and just don't keep it in the business. Go ahead on. Yes, Miss Ann fucking my husband, but that's your auntie and she gonna babysit you so I could go off and get once a year dick every so often without your so your grandpappy don't know, because that's how they fucked back in the day. They got dick once a year and that was enough. But now we are at the point where we have pulled back the veil and said, wow, we all grew up with levels of this. For you to be 5 years old and to see somebody else for you to be young. I saw my dad's side chicks. Actually, I was the one that broke up my parents' marriage. I was the one that be like, Miss Linda up the block in the caddy. My mom said, who? So at the end,
I met your mom, so I already know what that looks like.
Oh yeah, she put the brick through the window. She, she from North Philly. We don't play them games. But think about for a second if you could be open and honest and not waste time. Not waste time. Because there's nothing worse than what time is the greatest commodity on the face of the earth. And the more time you waste with someone that is not conducive for your love language, for whatever structure of love, then you basically do a disservice to yourself and to them. Go find other people.
Reclaiming my time.
Yes. That sums it up.
Because I've wasted a lot of years. And so I agree. I can agree with that. I have an answer, but I'm gonna save it for the Patreon. What's coming up? What?
No.
What? I mean, everybody wants to know. Like, everybody, this is one of those things. Like, everybody wants to know. Like, I'm gonna just say this. You know what I mean? I had a few people say this to me, and I just want them to know. Yes, absolutely, it's true, and it's not like true on some like funny kiki haha shit. But absolutely, yes, I'm living my best life. I've never been as happy with the circle of people that I have around me. And shout out to everybody that took themselves out. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. I don't ever want you to think that was ungrateful.
God bless you. Good night.
Yo, Jackie in the background. Jackie in the background telling me I got 2 minutes. Like
wrap that shit up.
2 minutes, sir.
Wrap it up.
Listen, man, it's too petty for me, man. I told
you. We love you, Jack.
Petty got to be a kink, right? Like, petty is a kink to me. Like, that shit turns me on. So yeah, but
most toxic nigga I've ever met in my life.
But I definitely want to say thank you to both of y'all. Well, all three of y'all, especially ATS, for a bunch of different reasons. Again, I appreciate the circle of people that I have around me, and that's not to say anything less of the people that took themselves out. Again, thank you, King Curt, HNIC, and shout out to my producer, my showrunner in the background, keeping me in check, Jackie. Shout out to She Essentials. Let me make sure I show that real quick.
She Essentials.
But She Essentials is what got me this great ass fucking beard. My products aren't pictured, but don't worry about it. I don't feel like getting up right now. I'll make sure.
My thigh meat has never been more moisturized since I started.
Listen, man, you see my beard, yo. I want y'all to go back and watch episode 1, Pussy Points. I just want you to watch like the first 3 minutes. I want you to see the lack of beard foundation that was on my face, and I want you to look at what Jackie did, because this is all Jack. I don't know what essential oil she put in there, but this is all her. You know what I mean? Shout out to the plug.
Shout out to Jackie because the curls.
Yo, absolutely. You see that too?
Look, these Negroes talking about hair. I ain't got none. But my thigh meat though, my thigh meat.
Let us see the thigh. Let us see the
Listen, hold on. Let me kick it up high one time. Listen, look. Now, I ain't got no drawers on underneath here. Anyway, listen,
let us see that.
It smell like cognac underneath here. Listen, look here, big eyes. Don't.
Yo, could you imagine her looking? Never mind. You're right. So, I just want to say thank you again.
It's amazing.
So, look, it's the batting for me, yo. Because I could. Never mind.
I am blinking.
Yo. I just want to say thank you guys again. I want to say thank you to the audience for staying with me, for rocking with me. Thank you to everybody in the comments. Make sure y'all play this again. The podcast will be up soon. And yes, this was season 3, episode 1. That other episode was just something. That was something I don't know what to call it. But
that was a trial.
We here now. Yeah, that was a trial run. We here now.